Do you ever feel like you're going through a period of emotional upheaval, of emotional turmoil, of questioning your past, old memories resurfacing, feeling energetically ungrounded, a lot's going on in the body, a lot's going on in the psyche? Well, you're not alone. This is happening to so many of us right now, especially those on the spiritual path, those that are willing to look inside and do the inner work. And it's for a very good reason. You see, a lot of people will never look at these things in their entire lives. They'll never look inside and open up those doors of their psyche, which they don't want to look at. They're not willing to look at the skeletons in their closet and to really heal the trauma they've been through. And, just all those difficult experiences, all those coping mechanisms we have, all that tension in the body, you recognize that that all came from somewhere, whether it was yourself living out of alignment or, just experiences we went through in childhood. We didn't know how to make sense of the world. So we developed various complexes, neurotic impulses in the mind, coping mechanisms, addictions, and some things that you thought you'd already overcome may be resurfacing at this time. Today, I'm going to explain to you why all this is happening, what the result's going to be, and overall, just to remind you that you're doing some very important work. What you're doing right now is more taxing mentally, physically, and emotionally than most 9 to 5 jobs in most careers. And you may be doing this on top of working one of those traditional jobs. I've been fortunate to have the time to go deep into my inner world without worrying about those obligations for the last couple of years. And that's been a blessing that God gave me to heal myself so that I can spread that into the world and help others such as yourself. It's very important right now that you listen to that inner call and take the time to feel what you need to feel, to look into those various parts in the psyche, let those emotions come up, let those old memories process through your system. You may feel symptoms in your body. You may feel old impulses arising that you thought you'd already overcome. But it's time now to really let those things go, to really see yourself in your totality. And all this is very overwhelming. You may slip into an old pattern. Don't beat yourself up. Just get right back up. And the way you're going to know that you're improving and that you're healing is that each time you fall back into an old coping mechanism, you're not spiraling anymore. Now you're getting right back up and go into that new version of yourself that takes aligned action, that has the capacity to sit with their emotions, maybe doing some inner child work, attending to the needs of the inner child that was neglected for so long because we didn't know any better. We had to hide that part of ourselves for fear of rejection, to avoid getting deeply wounded. But now it's time to bring that out into your expression. And that's what you're learning to do through this inner work. You're learning, who am I truly at my core? Think about those questions. Think about what you really want authentically. Detach yourself from the narratives you've been programmed with, from the opinions of other people around you. We can put so much stock into these things, but the highest life, the highest happiness, the highest joy and bliss is going to unfold when you connect with that unifying center inside of yourself, when you connect with God and ask Him what His will for your life is. Because God, your higher self, the universe, however you want to conceptualize it, that source of being is where you're going to find what's truly meant for you. Meditation, is very significant at this time for you to reconnect with that inner essence, with that core. You may not look as successful as others on the surface level because the society we live in puts so much emphasis on the material aspects of things, the finances, the possessions. This is what people look at to determine if you're successful. But what's the reason we're here on this earth? Earth is a place that souls were sent to evolve. And that pertains to your inner consciousness. Absolutely, participating in activities in the external world, especially when done with an attitude of detachment, is one way to evolve. But there's also going to be seasons in your life where you need to take that time to introspect, to dive deep into the psyche, to heal all the neurosis, all the baggage that you've built up over the course of your life. And there's no shame in this. It wasn't your fault. That's the very purpose of our experience on this planet, is to grow and evolve and overcome these things. It's exactly the way it's meant to be. Sometimes the process looks messy. God works in very mysterious ways. But whatever's happening, whatever's coming up, even when it feels very uncomfortable, just have faith. Just know that God is with you and all this is happening for a reason. And while everybody else is going out here trying to make money, trying to chase women, trying to get more and more possessions, trying to have exciting experiences, stimulating experiences, trying to indulge themselves with sense pleasures, you're actively, whether you're doing this now or not, you're either actively looking inward, seeking to resolve all these subtle issues to become the highest, most authentic version of yourself, or you're just now entering that path. If you're watching a video like this, take that as a sign to listen to that impulse, to go inwards, to really dive deep and introspect and see what's holding you back, see who you really are, see what's authentic to you. Your intuition and God is more powerful than anything else, and the opinions of anyone else. That's what's going to get you there. And give yourself credit for what you've done and how far you've come, of having the courage to do the work that many people won't do for their entire lifetimes. They'll walk around lost in the delusion of what they see around them. You may have even been feeling like what you see around you isn't quite real. You may be sensing that there's something more to reality. It starts with faith, and then it becomes knowing as you begin to connect with that authentic essence through spiritual practices such as meditation, through inner work, healing the trauma and the baggage that's holding you back. The more you continue to do this, the more you have eyes to see that this world is all God's creation, and it's no different than when you're dreaming at night. You go to sleep, a whole fantasy world happens in your mind, and then you wake up and you realize it was a dream. Well, that's no different than the life we're living in at this very moment, and the very video you're watching at this moment. The more you connect with that power inside of you, you're going to realize that gradually the realization is going to unfold that this world is God's dream and everything is made of His light and His love. So what's the purpose of existing here, of living here? The purpose is to realize that very truth, to refine yourself and elevate your consciousness, to perceive the glory of God the glory of God's creation and to live in alignment with that reality. And when you do that, you'll find that God takes care of you and meets all your needs. When you live to serve God, God serves you and puts you in the most aligned, authentic, and joyful situations. That doesn't mean there's not going to be tests. That doesn't mean there's not going to be periods such as what you may be going through right now, where there's a lot of emotions coming up, where there's a lot of old baggage that needs to be processed. But it's all being facilitated by the divine to cleanse you and make you a conduit for God's will and for the highest spiritual qualities of peace and love. So keep following that impulse to do that work on yourself, and don't be concerned if things aren't moving as you had planned, if you're not as far materially as you thought you would be. The inner work you're doing is paying off, and for everything you've done, God will repay you with the highest blessings. Stay blessed, stay aligned. I'll see you on the next one.